Kia ora, good evening, Rotorua, ahead in your Tuesday night news bulletin. A collection has been started for the family devastated by a fire at their home on Sunday morning. Rotorua District Council have won an award for their Youth Spaces program, and the Waikato Bay of Plenty Magic break their losing run. Those stories and more coming up next on City News. Neighbours of the family who were renting the house in Fordlands that burnt down on Sunday morning say the family have lost everything and need the help of the community. Jaden Wharepapa has told media that the family has nothing left and that help from the community would be much appreciated. A man and his 6-month-old baby escaped the fire on Sunday. However, 14-year-old Rangitihi Tamati struggled to get out. He was eventually rescued by firemen and taken to Middlemore Hospital in Auckland, where they report he has burns to 70% of his body and is in a serious condition. Rangitihi Tamati is a pupil at Rotorua Boys High School, which has started a collection on behalf of the Tamati family. If you would like to help, contact the guidance counsellor at Rotorua Boys High School, Tom Hale. Rotorua District Council has picked up the National Youth Spaces Award at the 2012 Youth in Local Government Conference in Invercargill. The award recognises the Council's work on engaging with young people and the wider community on its Rotorua Youth Spaces project and its recently completed Youth Spaces in Western Heights and Fordlands. Rotorua District Council Youth Projects Officer Jill Campbell says this year's win tops off the Council's success at last year's awards when they received the Supreme Award for the planning process undertaken to get the Youth Spaces project started. Work is currently underway on a new Koutu youth space in Karinga Park, which will be the third for the Rotorua District. GNS scientist Dr. Cornel Durand is holding a public talk at the Rotorua Museum on Thursday, presenting the remarkable findings from the search at Lake Rotomahana for the pink terraces. Museum promoter William Yip says Dr. Durand's talk is one of 2 fascinating earth science talks this month.
The most exciting thing is we got Cornel Durand, Dr. Cornel Durand from GNS Science. You might have known him last year. He went and had surveyed the Lake Rotomahana and found some traces of the pink terraces. And he came back this year again, and he's actually found a significant area that looks very much like the pink terraces. So he's coming on Thursday night at 6 p.m. To give a talk about his findings, and that should be a very exciting one to go to. And also on Sunday night we have 2 very special guests from Canterbury, the director of Canterbury Museum and the director of Christchurch Art Gallery, to come talk about their experiences during the earthquake. So they'll be on Sunday at 2 p.m. and they'll be talking about experiences from finding the time capsule all the way to what life was like at the Christchurch Art Gallery when their workspace was taken over by the civil defence crew.
William Yip says you will have to book for the talks as they will sell out. From today, a new rule prohibits the sale of properties with solid fuel burners that do not meet clean air standards. The point of sale rule is part of the Rotorua Air Quality Control Bylaw established in 2010 to help clean up Rotorua's air. Bay of Plenty Regional Council's Group Manager of Strategic Development, Fiona McTavish, says anyone buying or selling a house in Rotorua needed to check any appliance that burned wood, pellets or coal to make sure it was a clean air appliance. To find out more information on how to tell if a wood burner is clean air approved, pick up the Buyers and Sellers Guide to the Point of Sale Rule from the Regional Council's Ottawa Street office, or view the guide online at boprc.govt.nz. And the Citizens Advice Bureau is reminding locals that their courses for volunteers for 2012 still has places available. Jane Richards from the Rotorua branch says the courses will cover a whole range of training options.
We run a volunteer course once a year, and it's basically 5 days, Monday to Friday, starting on the 21st of May and 9 till 3, and they do training on all sorts of things like what the Bureau does, listening skills, communication, the Treaty of Waitangi. We do a bit of law like tenancy law, employment law, consumer, and then they learn how to use our database and how to do searching on our database and how to record client inquiries and all that. And so there's the 5 days and then followed by a couple of 2 or 3 evenings.
In sport tonight, the Waikato Bay of Plenty netball side finally broke their unprecedented drought in the ANZ Championship, notching up their first win of the season against the Canterbury Tactics at the Energy Event Centre last night, ending a 4-game losing run. Magic coach Nolene Taurua says while she was relieved to get some points on the board, it was not the clinical attacking performance she had wanted. Despite their struggles, the Magic was still able to score 61 goals, with Irene van Dijk coming into her own late in the game after her teammates struggled to find her under the post early on. The Magic will know if they have broken their losing streak for good when they meet the Fever in Tauranga on Sunday. To weather now, Rotorua, brought to you by Trevor Robson Signs and Graphics Limited. Tonight, fine southerly winds, overnight a low of 2. Tomorrow Wednesday, fine southerly breezes easing, a high of 14 and low of 2. Long range for Thursday, fine morning cloud or fog, light winds, a high of 15 and low of 5. Marine forecast for Lake Rotorua for Wednesday, southerly 15 knots easing to 10 knots in the evening, waves less than half a metre and fine. If you've missed any of tonight's bulletin, you can watch it again by going to tvrotorua.co.nz and click on the View Latest City News link. Or to view what's on in our city, click on the Upcoming Events link. Coming up tonight on City News, we take a look back at last week's Anzac services. Trevor Maxwell has council news, and I talk to Kathleen Vaillant from Age Concern.